pager like I'm Duncan. Better do something, boy, don't do nothing. Better do something, boy, don't do nothing. Better do something, boy, don't do nothing. Better do something, boy, don't do
Okay. Welcome back to the Pennant podcast.
Hello.
Episode 2. As always, I'm here with Peter.
Hi.
And I'm Alex.
Hello.
And we're going to come right out of the gates here, use up our final sunlight to talk about Leslyn Lewis.
Yeah, you might see the sun move. We're doing the best we can. At like
We're sundialing it.
Yeah. So, if there's issues with it being too dark, we could fix the post or
We've
whatever.
got the good lighting now, and then by the time, the sun actually sets, if you're still listening, it probably won't be because of the lighting. So
Yeah. So I guess we want to get into Leslyn Lewis. So we both watched the JBP, Jordan B. Peterson, Leslyn Lewis podcast episode. And it was an illuminating episode, particularly because of her background, which we could go into. But
I think that's a great place to start.
you want to start with the background and not like the fact that she says that she's second place in the race.
Oh
of
my
Bob
God.
Charest.
Yeah, okay, we'll start with that.
Yeah, we can't bury the lead here. So at one point, pretty much it was a cordial conversation with her and Dr. Peterson. And then at one point, like they agreed on like pretty much 99% of everything discussed. And then at one point she challenges Peterson because he said a couple times that she was in third place,
Right.
behind Pierre Poilievre and Jean Charest. But she challenged him and said, Poilievre, we don't even know how many memberships she sold.
Right. And there's a
Because-
discrepancy about the...
Yeah, because she says a lot of people who signed up through her website, because how it works in the conservative leadership race is that you could either sign up on like the main Conservative Party of Canada website, or you sign up on a candidate's website and they get credit for having that count as someone they signed. Like it only matters in the sense of like polling and metrics.
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know.
It's something for Nick Nanos to talk about, basically.
Yeah. So Poilievre's been claiming to sign over like what, 300K or something?
Yeah, 312, I think, was the number.
And
Something
Leslyn
like that.
Lewis is disputing that number because she's saying that a lot of her people got emails saying you forgot to sign up, so they'd sign up again. So there's duplicates and they didn't
Right,
really
yeah.
count, So she's not only claiming that Pierre didn't sell enough as he claimed to, but also that Jean Charest is not in second place, but in third place behind her, and that she's actually in second place. Which means that if everything she's saying is true, take that with a huge grain of salt. But if what she's saying is true, she could potentially be, I don't know if in contention to win, but it's a realm possibility.
Yeah.
And before that podcast came out, no one would have thought that,
No. And I've mentioned the Lewis campaign a few times. We haven't done the piece on her yet for the website, Pennant.inc. We've done 4 other candidates, including Patrick Brown, who's no longer in the race. But I've just straight up called her the, presumptive third place candidate, kind of dismissively, because again, I hadn't necessarily done the deep dive into the Conservative Party membership discrepancies. I'm glad you explained it because you did a better job than I could at this point. But we went through this with Patrick Brown a little bit too.
Yeah.
Because Brown was claiming to have signed up, I forget the exact number, but I think I heard 175K floated at some point. And Brown was claiming that he had this huge mass, essentially, of traditional Patrick Brown voters that had entered the race and bought memberships but weren't being polled for whatever reason, I guess because they weren't Conservative Party members before.
Yeah.
And that was Brown's whole argument, essentially, for how he could possibly win despite only getting like 4 or 5% in most mainstream polls.
And what is Lewis getting in most polls? She was in a similar situation.
I don't have the data immediately available, unfortunately, but a couple of months ago, she was getting, depending on the poll, and I know this is a wide range, but 5 to 15%.
Okay,
so she was doing respectably, certainly in some areas and in some polls. But again, is the Leslyn Lewis leadership campaign supporter going to be polled by Conservative Party pollsters?
Well, that's the thing.
Or are they more of in the Patrick Brown mold, not politically, not in terms of their policy preferences, which are opposite, frankly.
Yeah.
But
in terms of like Patrick Brown was, tapped into a lot of like, kind of immigrant communities,
the South Asians, the
Yeah.
Tamils specifically.
you know what I
but-
mean, who aren't kind of, I guess, traditionally polled as conservative voters, and I guess Leslyn would be in a lot of, like, you know, I guess black churches, or
Yep.
just like religious
Churches in
organizations.
general, we have
Yeah.
a lot of people who maybe were not political until they got involved in their church and in their
Yeah.
community, and then you know.
Yeah. So that's a good that's a good point to bring up too. Yeah. And also, like, I guess another aspect of that is she refuses to reveal her numbers because it's definitely for political reasons, but her explanation is that she doesn't want to kind of give this false impression, or I forget exactly how she phrased it, but pretty much she didn't think it would add to the discussion.
Well, it's not a
charitably.
final total anyway, right?
Yeah.
Because there could be discrepancy. Like the party goes over
Yeah.
the list. So if you hear a number like 312,000, it could really only be 300,000 because 12,000 of those, for example, I know nothing specifically about Polyev here, but it could be thrown out.
Yeah.
So her claiming this number is still kind of a fantasy, even if she really did sign up that many people. So I can see why she can justify it,
Yeah.
even though, as you say, it's a little bit of a cynical political move. But who could blame her? She doesn't have to release her numbers.
Yeah,
It's like releasing your
exactly.
tax returns when you're running for president.
Yeah. But does it, from like an opponent or someone who's on the fence, does it make her kind of look a bit, maybe not weak?
If you're willing to vote for Leslyn Lewis,
Well,
you don't
that's the
care.
thing, yeah. If you're even considering it, because I was on the fence and pretty much out myself. I put her top of my ballot. Basically, I put Lewis number 1, Baber number 2, and then Pierre Polyev number 3. Aitchison a respectable 4. The best 4th place vote I've ever given to any candidate. I was happy to vote for Aitchison for 4th. And
Yeah,
then
that's fair.
Sheree and Patty B nowhere to be found. So that's kind of how I lean, I guess, you know. But I'm not like I consider myself more independent in terms of, like, I don't really identify as any political party these days, but I was more wanting to vote because I've never voted in a conservative leadership race before. I voted in the 2 other parties' leadership race, Liberal and NDP, and pretty much I wanted to
Not to complete the hat trick.
yeah, complete the hat trick and also influence something, so like at least we have somewhat of a right of center option.
Well, it's
That's
a leadership
legitimate.
ballot is the most valuable vote in Canadian politics.
100%.
If you at home are watching this, regardless of the party you support,
Yeah.
if you want to actually influence that party and the politics in Canada in general, you will never cast a vote that is more efficient than a leadership vote.
Because most
'Cause-
people don't.
Exactly, and in a national election, it's you and
So
you know, 10 million other
It
voters.
literally counts more. Your vote literally counts
It
more.
counts so much more, especially in a party like the Conservative Party that does that regional weighting
Yeah.
stuff.
And even at a nomination meeting, you know.
Oh,
get
yes.
involved and help nominate, you know. Like, I've been involved in nomination meetings, but not as a voter, but as like a...
I've actually never been involved in a nomination meeting.
Well,
But
it's
it's something
interesting.
that I should scratch off my
It
list
really
at some
is
point.
a very interesting microcosm of, like, kind of Canadian retail politics.
But at the
And,
ground
like,
level.
Literally as ground level, as basement level. Literally, like, I think of like Tammany Hall, kind of,
Yeah.
where you're literally trying to funnel as many people as you can. Pretty much it's about getting more warm bodies in the room.
Yeah.
Literally, it's like human smuggling for votes. That's the best way to describe it.
Well, that's every political campaign because they run on hard work, basically.
Yeah.
And it's hard to convince people to care about something like a city council campaign to the point where they're actually willing to volunteer a significant number of hours a week, signing up other volunteers and going door to door and all the other things volunteers do. But yeah, anyway, nomination meetings, leadership races, that's where you should get involved in politics if you're interested in influencing Canadian politics as a citizen.
Also, I feel really dumb. I didn't start recording until now.
That's okay.
So-
Hopefully the audio is good enough,
Yeah.
and then we can do a little bit of splicing if we have
Yeah, it's
any,
nice to
any
have some
issues.
sort of backup or something, but yeah, I guess, you know, where are we going with this Leslyn Lewis thing? I guess the bombshell. A, do you believe it? And B, what, if you were looking at a crystal ball, how would you project this? Is Pierre still, like, I guess he still is the presumptive winner, but I feel like there's a bit of an asterisk. There's a bit more of a what-if scenario here.
Yeah.
And before I was fearing the what-if scenario could be, what if basically they Bernier him and give it to Charest.
Yeah.
Or, especially since now the fucking fringe Freedom Party candidates are splitting the vote between like Pierre Baber and Polyev. I mean
Pierre and Lewis and Baber.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
And of those three, honestly, Leslyn Lewis and Roman Baber, I feel like, are more traditionally appealing to serious libertarian kind of leaning people.
But those people are putting Polyev second.
Yeah, that's true. But
or at least third.
I don't know. I think your kind of ballot, even if the numbers were a bit different, but I think that's going to be very common in this race, where we see Baber and then Lewis and then Polyev or some combination.
Yeah, literally that's what I've seen all on Reddit and social media is combination of those three, basically. You know what I mean?
So the knock on Lewis is, I think, regional efficiency, actually.
Yeah, that's the thing.
So Charest coming in second, obviously doing well in Quebec, and probably the Maritimes is going to help Charest a lot against Leslyn Lewis. Yeah. So is that actually the headline? Is that the most interesting part of this whole race at this point?
The race for second place.
The silver medal battle?
It is, man. That's actually, you're right. Because think about this. If Charest finishes second place, he doesn't really lose anything.
He at least has created a springboard for the next representative of Big Red Tory.
Exactly.
Come the next time.
If he comes in third...
that actually, it's embarrassing, and it's a generational defeat for Red Tories and for center-ice conservatives. Oh, sorry, I mean center-ice Canadians.
It's like fucking Jeb Bush not even getting what he got, like 4 delegates. How many did he even?
Oh my God, I don't even remember the exact number, but he spent something like it was definitely hundreds of millions of dollars at that point. He had like, I forget the figure, but it was absolutely comical how much he spent per delegate compared to like any other campaign in history until Mike Bloomberg.
It'd be Jeb Bush.
Who just blew that out of the water.
And at first I thought that that Peter MacKay would be our Jeb, but I think it's Charest. If he comes in third.
Oh my God, dude! You are coming out firing.
I forgot about MacKay.
Well, you know, the other thing about Jeb Bush is he's kind of the back to the 90s.
Yes.
And so is Charest. Charest is the back to the 90s candidate.
When they had like 2 seats.
Well, that too. But Charest survived.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, so
Charest and Elsie
part
Wayne.
Of his pitch. I'm pretty sure he's mentioned that in interviews.
That he survived the worst bloodbath in Canadian history.
You know what I mean? Like,
no, you got to give that to him. You really do.
So that's the thing. It's like I can't even hate him compared to Patty B. Oh my goodness! Like at this point, I'm thinking Patty B. was a Charest plant just to make him look better to more right-wing people.
Yeah, no,
you know what I mean?
That makes sense.
Like he was a kamikaze candidate.
Oh, he was 100% a kamikaze candidate.
But to
boost Charest, yeah.
Yeah,
no, definitely.
Like, kind of right of center-ish, you know what
make
I mean?
Him seem, no, but even I had moments during the race.
To make Charest seem conservative.
So I'm going to be honest, I didn't really watch most of the debates. And I don't know. What am I going to learn?
Like he made Charest look like Steve Bannon.
But what I listened to, yes, I was thinking, man, Charest actually, after hearing Patrick Brown talk for 10 minutes, Charest is actually beginning to sound reasonable.
Yeah.
What's going on?
Yeah.
So you're right. There's definitely a tinkering with the Overton window of like within the Conservative Party thing going on here.
Like Patty B was like AOC, and Charest was like Steve Bannon. You know
comparatively speaking,
on the political spectrum,
even though Brown was practically endorsing Charest during his own campaign.
Yeah, but he just went so far into just the woke bullshit. I don't even know. It's even insulting to like the most insufferable woke bullshit panderers. Like he digged a hole and then he went underneath that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Every time we thought he'd hit a new low, he would top it. Like within a week. Yeah. Within a day sometimes.
There's all these accusations of Pierre being racist this, dog this, and that.
People are going to forget this, but there was in June and July of 2022, there was a Patrick Brown headline practically every day.
Yes.
And it was either some crazy scandal about his campaign, or it was him basically calling Polyev a, fascist, Like,
So,
ironically,
just the
how
dirtiest
so
of dirty
I'm
campaigning.
going to make an American comparison here,
Yeah.
but lately Joe Biden has been coming out and saying that these,
Oh, yes.
radical MAGA type extremists
I
are.
saw a headline today where Joe was gonna like kind of speak out against Trump loyalists.
Oh yeah.
It's like, does that mean they're purging? What is this?
In his first speech since Afghanistan, basically.
Yeah. So,
Anyway, but that would be the comparison. But the irony is, it's within the Conservative Party
yes.
that you have this kind of Joe Biden style rhetoric of instead of extreme MAGA, it's extreme Polyev.
Yeah.
And you drop the whole Pat King canard and you do all that stuff.
Yeah.
But anyway, I honestly do think Lewis could be number 2. But
Yes.
the mechanics of the Conservative leadership,
That's the thing.
the math is so dirty.
You need certain points. You need an equal amount of points from each region, basically, right?
Yeah.
Or something like
Something
that.
like that.
And it's ring, so yeah.
So that's Sheree's best defense against Leslyn Lewis, is geography.
Yeah. So we know best and worst case scenario for Sheree. Best and worst for Lewis. Well, I guess there's no worst for Lewis unless she is dead last, which I don't think is gonna happen. I think she's guaranteed third at least.
Is there a Polyev voter that didn't have Lewis on there?
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Probably not, right?
Yeah.
Obviously it probably won't matter because it'll probably be a first ballot race,
Oh,
basically.
you think so? That's what I wanted to get at. How many ballots does this go to? I think it went to
Oh no,
3
well
last
it'll
time.
sorry. I don't mean it'll be over on
And
the
then,
first
17
ballot, but
pretty much there's a wide gap, at least in the last couple, where 2017 it was 17.
that was ridiculous. It was 13 or 14.
And then the last one,
The last
it
one,
was 3.
Honestly,
it was over before it was over.
that is the single, as disappointing as that was for many Canadians, it was the single most interesting Canadian political thing I've ever watched in real time. It was so
Really?
crazy, man. It was
Yeah.
memorably crazy. Like the kind of
Yes.
thing I'll definitely be explaining to my grandkids who will have no
100%.
idea what I'm talking about. But like
Yes.
that moment mattered so much
Yeah.
in the recent political trajectory of this country.
Yeah.
And now Scott Aitchison is dropping supply management bombs left and right, and it doesn't even matter because he's practically a red Tory because of pandemic, etc.
Yeah.
issues.
So, yeah, what do you think? So you're saying, I don't think it goes further than 3, right? Because I don't think the other ones are drawing enough.
No,
votes.
Baber and Aitchison are
Are
fighting
gonna
for
fall off.
1% in some polls, and
Yeah.
I feel bad about that, particularly for Roman Baber, who I think
Yeah.
is seemingly a really stand-up guy who speaks intelligently about a lot of issues, and
Oh,
I
for
think
sure he is second on mine. I was wrestling. I was considering him first. He was first on my ballot for a while until the last week. Lewis just
Lewis has
just-
been, and this is
yeah.
the headline for a reason, obviously.
Yeah.
I mean, she's been on fire for the past week or two. I guess we were going to get into her background, but
Yeah.
first, should we get into what she's been talking about lately and from which perspective?
What has she been talking about?
She was dropping bombs on the JBP episode.
Oh, yeah,
for
for
instance,
sure, yeah.
she was talking about eating the bugs.
Oh, okay,
And
yeah.
she name dropped Klaus Schwab and did
Yes.
the nod to the anti-WEF crowd.
Yeah.
But mostly did so, in a tasteful way that I
Yeah.
feel like represented that seriously,
Yeah.
earnestly.
The mandates about how she decided not to reveal her vax status, and she's
That's leadership.
shadow cabinet position.
That's
Yeah.
leadership.
Yeah. But at the same
And
time,
who wants to be in Aaron O'Toole's shadow cabinet anyway?
Yeah. And at the same time, she was also talking about how she, she has an environmental science degree,
A sociology and women's studies degree,
yeah,
and a law degree.
law degree, and she had a private law firm. She was at a private law firm helping LGBT refugees immigrate to Canada. And this is the scary socially conservative lady. You know what I mean?
But I've noticed she has not gotten nearly the amount of negative press.
That Polyev
That-
has done.
Well, not even Polyev, absolutely. I mean, even Patrick Brown, he was
Yeah.
questioned about this. Would you run under X leader? And he
Yeah.
said, Sheree, obviously, I'm already running for Sheree.
Yeah.
Polyev, no.
Yeah.
Lewis, yes.
Really?
And I forget what he said about Baber, but it was probably yes.
Okay.
Essentially, Brown said, I can work with those people,
Yeah.
which doesn't make any sense.
Yes, she's well liked in the party. Even I'm pretty sure, at least from other interviews, she said Aaron O'Toole had no issues with her deciding to back out because of her did not want to disclose the vax status. She said,
Well,
he
it actually
respected her
saved
decision.
Aaron O'Toole a bit of
Yeah.
a quandary, because how can I be Mr. Red Tory walking a mile in her shoes
Yeah.
if I have this, raging anti-abortion SOCON or whatever narrative
Oh,
that
for
they want to
sure.
depict
Yeah.
Leslyn Lewis as in my shadow cabinet. So
Yeah.
with Aaron O'Toole, like it kind of worked out actually.
Yeah.
But obviously it didn't work out in the big picture.
Yeah. Like, I feel like she's very well liked within the party.
Definitely.
Which, I don't know if you could say the same about Polyev or Patty B, ironically, or Sheree. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, they all
They
piss
all have
off-
enemies.
Yeah, they all have enemies, and they piss off particular ends of respect
But
with
see,
the party.
Baber was smart because he moved from provincial politics, which is where all his enemies were,
Yeah.
to federal politics, where he has no real enemies,
still
and no one
green.
really wants to badmouth him, right?
Yeah, he's still green, so he can kind of, like, get away with it, you know?
Do you think
Yeah.
it's also a strategic thing? Like, you want to appeal to the weaker candidates' voters, even if you disagree with them ideologically because of the rank ballot math?
That's 100% what it is. Like,
Because
Lewis
who
is not
cares
gonna
if a
attack.
Polyev supporter puts you number 2, right? But if a Roman Baber supporter puts you number 3, that actually is really valuable.
It's like how Lewis won't attack Baber, but she'll attack Polyev. Polyev won't attack Lewis, but he'll attack Sheree.
Dude, it's
you
like
know what I mean?
Pokemon. It's
Literally.
like fire types and water types. And
Yeah, certain attacks work against others, you know what I mean? It's so funny watching debates where Lewis was coming at Polyev's neck a few times. At Polyev, which is like, that's not true. Like kid gloves. He was just taking it. He was doing
Yeah.
the Muhammad Ali kind of like, you know what I mean? Because he knows he doesn't gain anything.
if he counterpunches Lewis, it doesn't do him any
If
good.
anything, it hurts him.
It
you
does,
know?
yeah. He needs Lewis voters to be like, yeah, I'm a little suspicious of this guy, but at least he's nice to our candidate. you know?
Yeah. So it really, like, fucking leadership, like, inter-party means within, right? Or
Inter, yeah. No, intra. Intra is with it.
intra-party fucking politics is the best, man. It's better than fucking
No, it
national
is.
elections.
Seriously. Take the
Like,
leadership race pill,
yes.
my friends.
Those are the best league. It's like, what sports league analogy? Is it like March Madness compared to the, I don't know. I'm trying to think of like,
Yeah, but it's long, though. Like, it's like a
Yeah.
whole season of like 82 games, you know?
so
They've
it's
been
a
playing
regular
since
season.
March.
It's like regular season hockey or something, or basketball or football versus like playoffs.
It's like seeing who's going to win the MVP.
yeah,
Right, in the NBA. So
Yeah.
maybe you care about who's the champion, or this is your favorite team, you want them to do well,
Yes,
whatever. But
yes.
maybe you're a Steph guy over a LeBron guy, and you really want Steph to win more MVPs than LeBron or
Yeah.
something. So you watch the whole season just to watch
Exactly.
Steph Curry drop 30 and whatever.
I'm the opposite for sports. Sports, I only really care about the playoffs and the finals.
I'm too old to watch regular season.
Yeah, I used to.
generally.
Yeah, but for politics, man, nothing gets better than
Yeah.
fucking- I don't care if it's the Democratic primary.
Dude, the
2020.
Democratic primary
That
was
lit,
awesome,
man. It
right
was
up
lit.
until the end.
Well, yeah,
with
then
the
it kinda-
bizarre cliffhanger
Yeah.
ending.
It kind of got depressing at the end.
It-
The
what a
general
screw
election
job.
was shit, man.
Good lord. Well, I'm not even talking about the general. The Democratic primary was shit at the end.
Okay, true.
You have Joe
Yeah.
Biden going from like 5th place to 1st place
Yeah,
overnight
Yeah.
somehow by sheer
Fucking
Deus Ex Machina.
Refs, man.
And you have the Patrick Brown of America, except rich and old, in Michael Bloomberg.
Yeah. So, anyways, we're digressing.
We are digressing mightily.
So, yeah, basically, moral of the story: Lewis could actually win.
She could actually win or be number 2.
If I
Like,
was
it is
Nate
within the
Silver,
realm
yeah.
of possibility.
We're Nate Silvering it. What? Are you happy? Are you confident giving a percentage? Also, I got to look up what day the vote is, because I
I
have no
think
idea.
it's September 10th,
Let
but
me
don't
see.
quote me on that.
While I'm looking it up, if you were Nate Silvering it, what percentage?
I'd, well, if I were Las Vegas, I'd give Leslyn Lewis 10-1 odds to win,
Okay.
which I never would have considered 3 months ago. But honestly, it makes sense because she actually did very well in 2020 in a small field.
Yeah. No, it does make sense. Yeah. Yeah, it is September 10th. You're right. Shit, it's already the first.
So can you look up the 2020 conservative leadership, actually? I want to see her numbers.
Yeah, so
Oh, wow. That was
She
fast.
got. Yeah, I was on the page, so I had to click back.
So on the first round, she actually got, damn it, it's points.
Yeah, she
So
got
it's not actually votes.
20% of the points. 30, yeah, this kind of.
That's still very respectable
Yeah.
for a political nobody up to that point.
Yeah.
30% second round points.
Yeah.
That's actually good.
Yeah. And then she's eliminated in the third round.
People don't realize how well Leslyn Lewis actually did against two veteran Harper kind of cabinet guys in McKay and O'Toole.
Yeah, because look at this. In the second round, she's getting 30% of the points. McKay is getting 34, and Aaron O'Toole is getting 35.
O'Toole actually lost to McKay on the first ballot. That's crazy.
Damn. And then he just pulled away by the third one with 57% to McKay's 42.
Well, O'Toole got all the Leslyn number ones.
Pretty much, yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
guilty.
Yeah.
Busted.
And it's funny because you voted in the last one.
I did, and
And
I
now
was so upset. I was so distraught with what happened after and in the wake of the
Oh,
2022 Conservative leadership race that I
Yes.
could not bring myself to give the Conservative Party $15 or whatever it was
Yeah.
this time around. I was too upset.
And it's respectable. I kind of wrestled with it, but then I'm like, you know what? Fuck it. Like, this is my one chance to try and, at the very least, have some representation in a
Yeah.
major political party. I might as well try. And if they shit the bed, then that's on them, and I will just fucking vote.
Consider
fringe,
other options.
fringe third party, you know? So, I don't know, man. But
Yeah, I mean, Lewis, honestly, she's going to surprise people.
for sure,
She will.
whatever happens, she'll surprise people. So I guess the next episode, maybe we'll come back with the results or whatever.
Yeah,
10
well,
days
at
is
this
not
rate,
long,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Maybe we'll do some coverage on the night of.
We'll see.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Because honestly, it's going to be interesting, and it's going to
Yeah.
be almost as important as an election night.
Yeah.
So always keep an eye on leadership races, and
Yeah.
they help you see where the wind is kind of blowing in the future too, because future political stars will kind of throw their name in the ring.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Do you want to go quickly? How much time because I really don't have that much to say on Polyev banning government jargon that,
yeah, I need to actually look into the meat of what he's proposing, because it could just be like a own the libs clickbait. Like, okay,
It
so
kinda
here, I'm
sounds
gonna
like it.
air my beef with Polyev right
Okay.
here, okay? So honestly, he's not that bad
Yeah.
on most things. I concede that.
Yeah.
My issue with him is that sometimes I squint and I see Ben Shapiro. And I don't always disagree with Ben Shapiro
Yeah, I
either.
get
Like,
that
there's
too.
nothing wrong with reading the Daily Wire or whatever, but I just personally can't put that higher than third
Yeah.
on a ballot.
Definitely some Ben Shapiro vibes where it's like sometimes he's there and then sometimes it's,
He does a really good job a lot of the time, though. Like, honestly, I'd give him like an A or at least an A- on his
Yeah.
campaign. He's done a good
You can
job.
tell he's coming from a very specific worldview, which is still too kind of neocon, kind of mainstream, like GOP, but sort of kind of based on the Trump issue, but not, you know what I mean? Like, it's kind of toes the line, I guess. Where Polyev, the thing with him is that he was a very prominent Harper cabinet minister, and he has Harper's endorsement, but he's running as like the anti-Harper almost, which is kind of confusing to people.
Polyev?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. In terms of like personality.
Yeah, well, not only personality, but also like rhetoric, just populism. Would you say Harper was a populist? Maybe a proto-populist.
Not in the same way, but yes.
A proto-populist.
Because you have to keep in mind too, he came out of the Reform Party.
Yeah, so that's
And
true.
Polyev
yeah.
came out of the Reform Party tradition, Canadian Alliance tradition as
Okay,
well,
yeah.
because he got his start in politics working for Stockwell Day.
Yeah,
So,
it's more of like he's not running as like Reform Party Harper. He's running as like second term Prime Minister, kind of G8 meetings, World
Yeah.
Economic Forum.
well, if
Harper.
you want Reform Party Harper, you vote for Leslyn Lewis.
Exactly.
Leslyn Lewis is the Reform Party candidate in this leadership race.
Yeah.
Okay? And Jean Charest, as we said, he's Red Tory Inc., just like Patty B.
Yeah.
Suicide Mission.
So Polyev is running as Reform Party Harper against present day World Economic Forum Harper, but he has somehow managed to get present day World Economic Forum Harper's endorsement.
Yeah,
So
because I guess Harper looks at Polyev and says, back when I was 43, I was like this young man too. Like in 20 years, he too will be living it up in some billionaire's palatial mansion in Davos or something.
You know what
I don't know.
It's weird. Like, this race doesn't make any sense.
Honestly,
This
though,
country is
Harper's
so
legacy still on a pretty good trajectory.
Oh no, he's the best prime minister we've ever had. You could point blank mark that time.
Honestly,
he's the best you're gonna get in Canada. Like, okay, maybe he cut and slash some shit. Maybe he
I
was
don't want to
anti-science.
agree with you, but I agree with you. I cannot come up with any other name.
Like, Afghanistan was kind of whack, I guess, but who else?
Mistakes were made for sure.
Yeah, like,
but at least he got us leopard 2s.
at least he quote unquote balanced the budget. If you believe that.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
at least fumbled the numbers, make it look like he balanced it. At least you
That's
know
true.
What I mean, they're true to not even trying to even make it look like he cares about balance. You know, so it's just
Harper at least let the West in enough.
Exactly.
Polyev
That's
is
the thing.
letting the West in.
National unity
Maybe
got
even
worse
a little
under
bit more.
Trudeau.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
Like,
We're
there's-
way more divided geographically now than we
Yeah.
were, I'd say, even 10 years ago, and that's
Yes.
definitely reflected politically.
Yeah.
Geography and like pandemic response, I'd say, are the
Exactly.
two biggest determinants of political affiliation in
Yeah.
Canada right now.
Yeah. So yeah, this whole like government jargon thing, you know, like basically he wants a plain language law which would bring an end to government jargon, including on legislative documents. It would ensure government publications are instead written in simple, straightforward sentences, but he didn't explain how such a law would work or how the bill itself would be written without using jargon.
Yeah, that's,
This is from CTV News. So, but I like the idea of it. And basically, we don't have to spend long on this, but the point I wanted to bring up was Polyev is hitting a nerve that I haven't seen, honestly, since like Doug Ford or Trump or Rob, where it's like they get to the core of relatability, you know what I mean, in terms of early in Trump's term when people were mocking him because he couldn't he wanted his briefings in like one page in like bullet points summarized nicely, and if we gave him a briefer longer than one page he would just not look at it, you know what I mean? You know, and apparently they'd have to put like the word his name Trump in the briefings to get him to read it. I don't believe what you want,
who knows?
but the part about him wanting it in one page, like I could identify with that.
Yeah,
Going through university, having to read 50 pages of shit that you're going to forget about as soon as you write the exam.
and in a lot of cases it's 50 pages of shit that could be condensed down to 3 pages by someone, with half a brain.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like all this extra jargon and these stacks of papers. Like, most of the time it's not necessary. Tell me the core of the issue. What's going on?
Give it to me in
it.
300 words or less, and if you can't, then it can't be all that important. Get Magic Mike to deal with it.
Yeah, like I guess, a president, you're supposed to delegate tasks. Because do you really want the president reading all day or acting? Like, I know that sounds
I go
kinda
back to
bad.
this example a lot, but there were a series of puff pieces during the Obama presidency,
Oh,
probably
yes.
around the tan suit scandal.
Yeah.
About how Obama didn't pick his suits and he had a guy to do that for him, and the idea was to simply reduce the amount of decisions that he had to make in a day. And I thought, it seems a little bit
Like he wore
abstract.
the same suit
Is
every
picking
day.
out your clothes really that demanding? I mean, I don't know, but I don't have
It's
a
like the
Obama
Zuckerberg,
to your wardrobe,
Bill
that's for
Gates
sure.
kind of.
Or Steve Jobs.
Yeah.
Wear the black turtleneck every day, and you just don't one less thing you have to think about while you run your empire.
Yeah.
And it makes sense.
I get that. But, like, the idea that, like, you need to be reading 50 pages of intelligence documents to understand who you need to drone and whatever. Like, I get it, but it's
Do you
like...
think JT's reading 50-page, 500-page
No.
security briefings?
No. But
I
they
don't think so
tell you.
either. I think he's canoeing in BC.
Like, the prime minister's supposed to delegate. You hire the people, they bring you the information that you need to know, and then you make the decision. That's how it works. That's how everything is structured. Trump's not the first and not the last president. You think Biden is reading?
You think Biden can read?
Clearly not. We have video evidence of him not being able to read. But anyways, I digress. I just thought that was funny because, once again, the populism thing, he appeals to the reading challenged common folk like me, I guess.
But without actually, dumbing down his base
Oh, no, for
necessarily.
sure, definitely not.
Because honestly, why isn't the law of the land written in plain language that,
Yes.
you know, the fishmonger at the end of the street should be able to understand? Like,
Exactly.
if something doesn't intuitively seem like it should be enacted in law, and you have to understand all of these, dozens of pages of jargon and stuff, then, you know, the whole notion of law kind of breaks down a little bit, because how can the average person, you know, how many random little bylaws do we violate by accident every day, right?
And that's what turned me away from like poli-sci, political science, back in the day when I was trying to do a double major of journalism and political science. And then the political science like theory classes where like you're reading Plato and Aristotle. Like I like the gist of, like I get the gist of their ideas, but like it's just so dense. Or even the regular poli-sci documents that you have to cite and shit. I'm just like, I don't want to. There's others. I'd rather read about like fucking music in fucking Nigeria or some shit, because it's simpler. You know what I mean? More cultural, sociological kind of shit, where it's less about kind of the theory and more like these people like to drum because it helps with their community, or you know what I mean? Simple shit like that. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's just, I don't know. Even though I'm very fascinated by political theory and I like discussing it with friends, but
No, the field is poison.
the
Like,
idea
let's
of
be
being
real.
like, I read Plato's Republic. Like I get, like I want to be able to do that, but I just can't, man. Like, you know what I mean? Or I read this obscure.
Well, the other
theory.
thing too is we live in such a Platonized society. I
Yeah.
mean, Christianity, you know,
Yeah.
has a heavy Platonic link. So,
That's the thing. If I couldn't read the Bible cover to cover, I'm not gonna be able to read Plato.
but it's like reading the Bible, because you're going back, and yeah, it's in, you know, kind of simple language. It's about this basic kind of stuff. Well, you know, but with a tinge of history on it and all that.
Yeah.
But it's so foundational that it's like, what's the point? I've already, you know, like,
You've already heard this. If
you've already
read
heard
a
a
book-
1,000 different versions of this.
Yeah.
And you can argue that makes it even more important to go back to the source, kind of
Yeah.
like reading the Bible yourself rather than only having your pastor interpret it for
Oh
you.
yeah, no, I encourage people to read. It's just not for everyone. And like I like reading. It's just attention spans. You know what I mean? And also like when I watch movies or listen to podcasts, or I consume so much culture that all of these principles from Plato, from Machiavelli, you know, from Locke or Hobbes or whatever,
You're going to
they're
encounter
baked
all of
into
them
our
naturally.
culture.
Yeah.
So it's like I don't even need to read the actual books because I already know all these things, all
Yeah.
these principles, you know. But people cite people who pay for expensive degrees, you know, read this shit, and somehow that makes them better than everyone else because
Yep.
they paid to like thousands or $100,000 in debt to read some shit, you know.
Yeah.
Like, and I know I'm dumbing it down. This goes into the whole tuition forgiveness thing,
Right.
but-
Yeah. We're bridging into American education
so that's
here.
one shot at that, I guess. But it's whatever. I pretty much to sum up the Polyev thing, I like the intentions behind it. As a policy, we'll see how practical it is. But hey, you know what I mean? It's a step in the right direction.
Do you think it'll ever see the light of day, or do you think it's just a smoke signal for now?
Probably a smoke signal, but it'd be nice. Like, it sounds like a relatively easy thing to do. It's not the most consequential decision.
I don't know, man. I could see the government spending billions of dollars on lawyers for this, litigating all of this shit, because it's going to have a huge impact on a lot of documents. And ironically, Polyev has a built-in reason not to do it, because he can say, I wanted to do it,
Yeah.
but then they told me it would cost, you know, X billion dollars, and I have to hire all these consultants, and I said, fuck that.
That's the problem with this country. How does it cost more money to write in simpler English?
Partially because we have to go back to all of the pre-existing documents and rewrite them.
Is that what
And
he's
we have
saying?
well, no, I'm coming up with the argument
Oh,
now,
okay, yeah.
kind of spontaneously, but this is what I'm pretty sure anyone who's going to oppose this in the future is going to say. So I think this might quietly disappear, and they'll just say, yeah, we looked into it, and it was too expensive, and we had to hire too many lawyers and too many consultants.
Yeah, I
And
can
we're
see
fiscal
that.
conservatives, so sorry guys, but we're going to move in that direction, but more gradually. That would be my theory.
Yeah. Anyways, let's keep this trucking along, I guess.
Okay.
And this is the truck is a great like segue into the Freeland accosting.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Chrystia Freeland was accosted in Alberta, and no pebbles were thrown, I don't believe.
No.
But she was called a traitor.
Yeah, and the viewer, the bitch, I guess. Can we say that on YouTube? I don't know. Bleep me if that's...
I mean, we've already dropped a couple of F-bombs here and there, so I don't think one
she was
bitch will
called
kill
a
us.
traitorous
Anyway.
bitch, I guess. Sorry if there are kids watching. And it's like, I'm not...
Mostly, apparently, YouTube is sensitive during the intros. But then after that, apparently it gets a little bit less.
Yeah, I feel like I've heard that before.
I don't know. Maybe it's just one of those things people say.
We're reporting the news, okay?
Keep reporting. I'm going to put on another layer.
Okay. So basically this guy pulled up to her. She was at some sort of conference in Calgary at some hotel, I guess. And like this guy wearing a tank top, wife beater kind of shirt with, I guess, his wife. She was with another lady who was filming the video. Basically pulled up, started yelling at her. He was like, we could insert the clip too. He was like, hey Chrystia, and she's like, yeah. She's like, you traitorous bitch. And then she just darts, and her and her staff kind of dart into the elevator, and then the guy kind of follows them but doesn't go in the elevator. He just keeps yelling at her. I think he calls her the C word at one point. Like,
oh dear.
Yeah, it's not a fun, like, it's not a good clip. It's a very ugly kind of encounter, you know. But the fallout from this was that, you know, this is this great attack on women, and also politicians need security. The one thing I'll lead with is that I think cabinet ministers should have security, at the very least. At least the deputy prime minister, finance minister should have security.
But, okay, they don't have security because it's inconvenient for them. That's why. They could have more security if they wanted it.
What do you mean? How is it inconvenient?
Because, you know, you have to have guys around you to check rooms and stuff like that, and, you know, you can't just, like, go to the movies or go get groceries or whatever. But, like, the security is available to them.
Well, no,
and I guess
think
the RCMP can decide not to fund it or whatever, but...
That's not how... So what I read was that it's only allocated on a case-by-case basis if there's, like, if there's a legitimate threat, like with
no, that's
former
true. That's
Environment
true.
Minister
Catherine McKenna.
Yeah.
Whose office was spray painted a couple of times by people who were totally not Liberal staffers, I'm sure.
Well, yeah, she had security apparently. You know what I mean? So apparently they have to like request it or so. I don't know, but why can't they have it at default? Because is it just the convenience thing?
Yeah, I don't think they would want it. That's what I mean. Like, I think they would vote on this. You know, it'd be a very easy thing to whip your party on. Oh, we need more security for...
No, that's true. Do you think they'll do that now? Or are they just kind of like bluffing just for the news, for the headlines?
Well, it's like Trudeau wearing a bulletproof vest, right?
Yeah.
In that, okay, of all of the dumb Trudeau government stunts, that was one of the ones I thought was the absolute dumbest.
Because they would have canceled, because I feel like I'm sure they've canceled rallies before because of security concerns.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
So if there's that much, wouldn't they've just canceled it?
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
Exactly.
But he comes out in the bulletproof vest.
He comes out in the bulletproof vest.
Like...
And like a white dress shirt.
Yeah, over it.
Well, come on, man. That was drama teacher mishandling the props department.
I haven't like analyzed it that much, but that was ridiculous.
It was absolutely ridiculous.
Because it's like, if there was a legitimate threat, if you thought the prime minister needed a bulletproof
vest, you're
gonna
go talk to like 200 donors?
Yeah, and the way that stage was set, there were people all around. Like, it was a packed room. So why, if they thought it was unsafe, would he even be there?
Yeah.
And firstly, like, your head's not protected, so
exactly. Like, they didn't bring him out in the Zelensky Dukakis helmet, you know.
So I don't know, man. Like, I know politicians do wear vests. Like, Obama's been said to wear vests, and Trump.
Yeah, but at least they did it under their jacket.
Yeah. Well, I think he had a jacket, but it was so bulky. And, like, if his arms raised, there's some pictures where it's like you could tell.
John McCain couldn't raise his arms. He did okay.
Yeah, like, they're better at concealing it in America. And the president...
They're more tasteful about it.
And the president has legitimate threats against him.
Every day, probably,
you know what I mean? So it makes more sense for Trump or Obama, you know? Like, anyways.
Why would you bother sending anyone to Ottawa when you could just send them to D.C., you know?
Yeah. Anyways, like, how do we get to this tangent?
Oh, We were talking about Chrystia
Freelance.
Freeland.
Yeah, does she need the security?
I don't know. Maybe she should come out in a bulletproof vest.
And the thing is, speaking of bulletproof, she is talking about, because the part of what the guy said was that, you know, don't come back, get out of Alberta, right? Because he was just insulted at the fact that she came to his province, you know.
Well, I think she's from Alberta originally.
She might be, yeah. She was like, Alberta's my home in response. And she's like, I'm definitely coming back. And I texted you lyrics to Biggie Smalls' I'm going back to Cali. That song started playing in my head.
To Cali,
Yeah.
Gary.
Wait, what? Oh, Cali. Oh, wow.
Little freestyling for out there.
So it's like, yeah, man, if she's going back, maybe bring security. I don't know. Like, I don't think her life was at any danger, but I don't know. At the very least, she's like the equivalent to our vice president. So it's like, should you be able to just run up on her like that?
Probably not.
You know,
I mean, she's prime minister.
Yeah.
Let's be real.
Maybe not
so
the rest of
maybe
the
she
cabinet.
needs the vest more than Trudeau does.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, and clearly, like, it was all like just women, tiny women staffers. With like, I'm sorry, like they were gonna do shit against if that guy wanted to do something. You know what I mean? Like,
fair enough. Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of weird that she didn't have more security in Alberta.
Yeah.
But anyway.
So.
Yeah, I think it's a convenience thing.
Yeah.
Mostly, and that's all there is to it. Really.
Well, this will last? Like we've been talking about it for a week. Like it's probably dying now.
Well, she said today she released some statement or something that I saw briefly.
Yeah.
About how she still loves Alberta.
Okay, that's
in
good.
spite of it all.
That's took the high road, whereas Trudeau.
She did take the high road.
Trudeau took the low road immediately. He just kind of harping about whatever he usually harps about, dangerous, fringe,
far right,
yeah.
Trumpists in Canada,
Yeah.
populism is bad.
So
yeah,
it's crazy.
But she's slicker than Trudeau a little bit.
That's the thing. When the prime minister is the attack dog and the deputy is the more mature level.
She actually reads the room better.
Yes.
Like maybe not in a personal way, but
Yeah.
in a political tone kind of way. Like
Yeah,
she's
like
much more careful about her tone.
Like
than the
she's
Prime
had her
Minister.
gaffes too.
Oh, definitely.
She's on the record laughing at when she was discussing freezing people's bank accounts.
Yeah,
like
that
she
was
was
really bad.
grinning from ear to ear.
Man, every liberal went psycho villain for like a month.
Like,
it was unbelievable.
My plan is coming to pass. You know what I mean? Like full like Dr. Evil Blofeld or Gustav Blofeld, you know?
Yeah.
My name is Arnold Stavro Blofeld.
Well, she got to chat with the CEOs of all the chartered banks, right? And I'm sure they had some great lunches.
100%.
So
yes.
I bet she comped that.
Yeah, definitely. So, yeah, I don't know. Does this kind of thing work though? Because I've also seen conspiracy theories. So the conspiracy theorists are saying this guy's a glowy fed.
I mean, honestly, I'm not going to outright say that I believe those theories, but whenever anything happens, before I consider any other possibility, I just ask myself, did some staffer do this? Oftentimes the answer is yes.
Yes. But in this situation, maybe I'll do my words. I'll say who knows, but probably not. I don't. It
could just be a man committed to being the most stereotypical Albertan.
Have you seen the whole video, like them chatting afterwards?
No, I haven't.
Like, yeah, I gotta play this for you. Can I find it?
Yeah, you can see my live react.
Yeah. Hold on. Let's see. While we're looking for this, I was wondering how they would. If they successfully be able to spin it, like feminist angle. I'm just wondering, are they going to be able to spin this and make it help with their kind of further crackdown on civil liberties?
Oh yeah, always.
Speech,
but like just like the bulletproof vest stunt, right?
Yeah.
Like one of the great things about Canada is that while I would say institutionally and politically we're in disarray right now as a nation, we do have a peaceful political culture here, with a couple of exceptions in the 1970s. And I think that we should celebrate that more than we do. Even when things get very contentious, they still generally stay quite peaceful, and political culture, that should not be taken for a given in any political culture, because the peace can be a fragile thing.
Yeah.
So I feel like exaggerating the risk for the sake of political polarization to win, short-term points and get out a certain kind of media angle, it's not only unproductive but irresponsible.
Yeah.
But again, I don't mean to victim blame here. If that guy was actually some loose cannon who just decided to accost a cabinet minister just because it was just some crime of opportunity, obviously I'm not condoning that, and neither are you.
This will insert this video. Maybe believe.
What the fuck you doing in Alberta? You fucking traitorous fucking bitch! Get the fuck out of this province!
You don't belong here.
You're a fucking traitor! Fucking bitch!
Yeah, go ahead and hide.
Alright, guys, you're a traitor in the fucking elevator. Chrystia Freeland, I'm going. I'll walk up my own ladder. Don't touch me, okay? Don't touch me. No.
Barely.
Don't touch me.
It's that accent
You love her?
too.
You love her? You love Chrystia Freeland? No. I fucking hope not. Don't tell me you can't. I'll walk up my own ladder, okay? Back off. Fucking
The new Pat King.
Yeah.
fucking country leave me alone in Alberta. You're destroying this country. Your kids are gonna have no future. Okay?
New right-wing boogeyman skin just dropped.
Yeah.
Fight for this country right now. They sure as hell isn't her.
I just love how Canadian this accent sounds like.
Honestly, okay, like,
Came
Well,
at the
listen to this
perfect
part.
time.
Perfect timing.
Holy shit! That needed to happen. Way to go! That guy turned around.
Like that part sold it for this. I think this is real.
yeah, this is
man.
probably the genuine article. I'm convinced they found the new Pat King. I'd like to congratulate the Liberal Party of Canada for finding yet another boogeyman with which to
Yeah.
paint millions and millions of Canadians.
Yeah. So, anyways, it is what it is. I think it'll be out of the news in a couple weeks until the next thing happens.
I'm not, the president of the Chrystia Freeland fan club or anything by any means,
Yeah.
but, don't do that.
Yeah, no. Once again, we're not condoning
No.
anything.
And, if you can't get there ethically, at least get there tactically, please.
But also, this is also part of what you politicians sign up for. You know what I mean? Like,
Constant, Hegelian polarization.
yeah, it comes
Just
with the
always
territory.
intensify the conflict, and so that we can talk about dumber and dumber political issues
Yeah,
as life and death.
yeah. Anyways, we talking about vaccine mandates at school.
Oh yeah, we don't have to go too long on that. I
guess
don't
we
have
could
that much to
Kind
say.
of tie it into when do we declare victory on
Right.
the virus?
Well, honestly, I'd like to issue my heartfelt congratulations to the Western Mustangs who've been standing up against this latest mandate. It is a campus-wide 3-shot booster mandate. Good job to all the Western students who are 0 vaxxed, 1 vaxxed, 2 vaxxed, for standing up for the right to not have to be 3 vaxxed. Well done. And I'm glad that you guys have gotten some of the attention that you deserve. We've got a flyby over
Yeah.
here.
Is that like a biplane? I don't know
No, but it is a propeller plane.
what it is. Yeah. I wonder what. Just keep talking. I'll see if there's any update on the Western University vaccine situation.
I don't think there is. I don't think they've commented about
So
the
currently,
protest movement.
London Free Press put out Western University Student Union won't fight vaccine rules.
Classic.
So
Classic.
Student unions.
Student unions are useless.
Yeah. Basically, it's the administration.
But, I mean, you think the Canadian Federation of Students is going to fucking fight a vaccine mandate?
No.
Obviously not, right?
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, I guess there's no update. We'll see.
So the difference between the Western mandate and, bless you,
Sorry.
and other mandates, I know U of T still has a residence mandate,
Yeah.
but I don't know if it's a booster mandate.
Hold this for a second. I would blow my nose, but keep talking.
Okay. So, what makes Western's mandate unique is that you have to have 3 shots to basically walk into a building on campus.
Yeah.
So you can't even live off campus and still just go to your class once a week and then write your exam. Like,
Yes,
you have to
because-
have 3 shots.
Yeah, if you have an exam, even if you're taking online courses, the exam's in person, you're fucked. You still have to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there are certain exceptions, like I think donors don't have to be vaxxed.
Oh, wow.
Visiting sports teams don't have to be vaxxed.
Really interesting.
So there's or at least boosted.
yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
But it's very disheartening that a university is still pulling this in fall of 2022, and that some people are going to have their education delayed and damaged as a result.
Mm,
But luckily, we haven't gotten there yet with public schools.
yeah.
But DC has.
So let me read a portion from this article. It says, the student council backed the mandate by a narrow margin of 53% and also passed a motion to advocate for clearer and more transparent communication from Western administration regarding why a 3rd dose of the vaccine is necessary and other policies. So pretty much they did we're still supporting it, but we want to clarify. So basically nothing.
Yeah.
They
Well,
basically voted
yeah.
to do nothing. Which is, I guess unsurprising for student unions.
I mean, it's kind of the NDP angle, as we've seen over the past year or two, where some
Yeah.
NDP MP will occasionally suggest that there are privacy concerns or bodily autonomy concerns, and then basically they'll say, we're concerned, but we support the government.
It's
anyway."
silent quitting. Have you heard of that thing?
But it's silent quitting, not your job, but on
Yes.
your constituents.
Yes, on your
That's what it
principles
is.
and human rights, So,
Or if not your human rights, at least your charter rights.
Yeah.
I mean, let's start there. Because different people have different even definitions of what human rights are, but the government
Yeah.
is obligated to fulfill our charter rights,
yeah. So, like, why are the universities...
or at least not interfere with them, pardon me.
Why are the universities the last holdouts in declaring victory in COVID? I'm thinking it's maybe ivory tower kind of syndrome. They're just
Yeah.
so high up that they just can't let it go because it's the one time that they literally had power over every aspect of our lives.
Okay, so boomer tenured professors
Yes.
have way more power than, for instance, grad students or under
Yes.
contract instructors. So part of it is just the boomer media bubble.
Yeah, because the professors union, the rumor is that the tenured professors union or faculty, whatever union, push for this. Or they're in a contract negotiation and the school is doing this to kind of gain favor or leverage.
So we all know how post-secondary educators tend to lean politically.
Yeah.
At a lot of schools, sometimes the ratio of, for instance, in the United States, Democrat to Republican Party affiliation, sometimes in some departments it's like 17 to 1, 30 to 1.
Yeah.
In some very specific fields, some of which Leslyn Lewis studied, it's probably like
Yeah.
99 to 1,
Mhm.
you know. So part of it is just you have this very like pro-government, pro-regulation, pro-receiving public money, you know. They didn't want to drive into class anyway because they might live in some nice place an hour out of town and it's
Yeah.
inconvenient for them to drive to campus, so they just sit at home and mask up while they're on Zoom.
Yeah.
So part of it is that. It's the dominance of kind of that generation of educators. But then it's just the fact that, like, when did you ever meet somebody at a university who didn't want more government regulation?
Yeah, exactly.
So why would they look the gift horse in the mouth, right? Isn't this part of the whole Gramscian long march to the institutions where they finally captured everything and now they can, you know,
It's part of the
shut the
whole
door?
university grift, like, that's a whole other
100%.
thing. Yeah, so... Yeah, it shouldn't be surprising, I guess, they're doing this. It's sad, but you're right. Because it's like they don't have to produce... Every other industry has to produce something productive for society.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The educational institution is the one industry where they could rise their fees without an increased profit. It's literally, it's worse than Marxism in the sense that they're taking your money and raising the fees, but they keep taking your money and provide a shittier service.
Yeah. It's like
And they don't-
shrinkflation of
And
education.
they don't make anything. They're not producing anything, but they're still making more money.
And then
Like-
leaving a bunch of grads without any professional skills
Yeah.
whatsoever.
So, yeah. I don't know, man. But more broadly, I guess, to wrap this up, when do you think we'll declare victory? Because today on the news I was seeing some sort of expert doctor guy talking about how the 8th wave will be devastating in the fall.
Oh my God.
Meanwhile, Dr. Kieran Moore is saying that you only have to quarantine for 24 hours, right? They said that yesterday. So basically no more 5-day quarantine.
I'm gonna get some bug spray going.
Oh, praise God.
It's getting to that hour.
Yeah. No more 5-day quarantine, just 24 hours after your fever breaks, kind of thing, you know? So it's like a push and pull. This one side looks like they're willing to, some doctors, some experts look like they're willing to declare victory, and others look like,
Well, in the end, the
They
Great
don't wanna-
Barrington guys won.
yeah. The what?
The Great Barrington Declaration, where basically they argued for a focused protection approach,
Yeah.
and not destroying the economy.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Those guys won in the end because
Yeah.
we're essentially at what they wanted 2 years ago.
Yeah.
We just fucked around doing God knows what for 2 years, tearing up the charter,
Yeah.
derailing people's careers, educations, family lives for no reason, shutting people out of their hobbies, out of medical treatment in a lot of cases for
Yeah.
no reason, denying them organ transplants and educations.
Yeah.
I could go on. We did that for 2 years and tried all this social engineering crap, only to arrive at the conclusion that focused protection is what we probably should have been doing all along.
And it made no difference. You can be triple vaxxed and still get COVID.
Yep.
Still test positive twice after allegedly being triple vaxxed.
Look at President Biden,
Or Joe Biden, yeah.
who's been probably quintuple vaccinated at this point and
Yeah.
tested positive like 3 days after testing negative after testing positive.
Yeah.
And then they
So,
blamed Paxlovid.
What's Paxlovid?
It's like one of those antiviral treatments.
Oh, okay, yeah. And that's another thing. Even talking about antiviral treatments could get you yeeted off YouTube and social media.
A year or two ago, absolutely.
You know
Now
what I
they're
mean?
like, I don't want to say pushing Paxlovid because that sounds bad, but you hear about it a lot more often, and it's
Yeah.
considered a much more mainstream.
Because it's branded Pfizer. Is that the Pfizer one?
Yeah, I believe so.
Oh, exactly. So it's Pfizer TM, but
Oh, well, that's true.
Talking
Yeah, that's
about-
part of it. It's Pfizer-Mectin, right?
exactly, yeah. So I don't know. What do you think? We're dancing around this question.
Right. Is it time to declare victory? My answer is absolute, unequivocal. Yes, we should have declared this victory over 2 years ago. We didn't. We dithered. We destroyed our economies. We destroyed our children, and we destroyed ourselves. And for
Destroy
what?
our future.
So it is time to declare victory. And this is a losing battle for, the maximalist regime.
Yeah.
They are losing the support that they managed to derive through fear and ignorance and misinformation.
Yeah.
It's cracking. People don't care anymore. We have one more pandemic election in us.
Yeah.
And that's Jean Charest's problem. I made this point in my Jean Charest piece. Jean Charest does nothing for you in a pandemic election where people are beginning to
Oh,
change
for sure.
sides.
100%. Yes.
So now's the time, everyone. Declare victory, get on side, get
Yeah.
right, and let's start putting all of this behind us, and then we can begin rebuilding our fractured communities.
Well, will they? Because what I keep on hearing is that it won't be just it's over, guys. It'll just be a gradual kind of, that's what it's been up until this point.
Kind
But
of
that
like
sounds
the
depressing.
well,
You
yeah.
know what I mean?
We
Like,
don't
just a
want this to go into a war on terror direction.
Yeah.
Although, actually, if you think about it, the war on terror is an
Right
excellent
hand.
comparison because you have the invisible enemy,
Right
the
hand,
insurgent,
yes.
that can pop out of nowhere and infect you and kill grandma.
Yeah, they're talking about other viruses and variants, and the Omicron
Oh yeah,
vax that you need.
yeah.
That you can't.
Oh yes, the Omicron vaccine that I don't know if this is in every jurisdiction or if it's just in some jurisdictions, but you apparently cannot get the Omicron booster without being up to date on your pre-Omicron boosters.
Well,
So
when did Omicron become a thing?
if an unvaccinated person decided to get
Yeah.
vaccinated now and wanted the Omicron vaccine, they would not be allowed to get it until they got their 2 or 3 shots of Pfizer or Moderna.
When did Omicron, I knew when it became a thing, but when did it became, how is it back? I thought that was just a one-off thing. So it splintered into its own thing?
Yeah, basically.
What the
So
fuck? Come on, man. Okay, here's the thing. I don't have a science degree or a medical doctor degree, But before, the flu was just the flu. We didn't give a fuck about what variant of the flu it was, because it was the flu. And if you got it, then you stayed home.
We did have
and you got
avian
sick.
flu and we had swine flu.
Well,
But
yeah,
you're
but
right,
those
that
were
was
jokes,
just the
like-
flu by a different name.
Yeah, exactly. That's
I
what I'm
had
saying.
swine flu.
The flu was the flu, and there's a different strain every year, and we're not obsessed with. Pretty much, we didn't trademark strains of illnesses.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? We didn't sell merchandise based off of them before. You know, it is what
Yeah.
it is. If you gave a fuck, you know, then you would get the flu shot, and you know, whatever that I guess give you some peace of mind. If you didn't care, you just get sick and build up your immunity. And now it's like, it's not even that we're afraid of getting the bug, but there's all these different super bugs. They're like Pokemon, right? Omicron and BA and whatever, and it's like,
but they're kind of all trending down, right?
yeah,
Theoretically,
It's-
like if, you know, less scary and more transmissible and less avoidable.
yeah.
The general evolutionary trajectory of viral diseases.
It's just ridiculous. I'm tired of hearing about these branded,
BA.8 variant.
like they're fucking part of the Disney Princess collection.
You gotta
get
catch them all.
You get a Jasmine and a fucking Bella and a Ariel. You know what I mean? That's what the variants are, you know? They're branded Disney merchandise. I'm tired of it. It's the flu, it's a sickness, it's a cold. You know what I mean? Like, I understand
there's a
people.
seasonal respiratory illness with some cardiopulmonary implications for some people.
If you want to get vaxxed, that's your what you call it.
It's your
That's-
prerogative.
yeah, then you know I'm not against that, you know, but
No, of course not. Bodily autonomy, right?
we got to bring back bodily autonomy
And privacy.
and privacy.
Bring
and
back
freedom
privacy,
of mobility. Pretty much bring back the
decency.
Constitution.
Yeah.
the Charter,
Well,
you know.
honestly, maybe we need to open that stuff up and actually
Well,
do
yeah,
it right.
100%.
Because we did a hack job in the early 80s.
Yeah,
Big time. And that's a big part of the reason why we're here now.
yeah, it's a whole nother topic, but basically we're declaring victory.
Yeah,
So should
If
you.
Yep. If you needed permission to declare victory, please take it from us. You have permission to declare victory. It's done. Don't let them continue to stretch this out of proportion indefinitely. Don't let this become the war on terror.
Yeah. So we're at, on my phone, we're at 57 minutes, but add like 16 to that. So I'm
Oh,
gonna say
right,
hour
okay.
16.
Okay.
We could talk about Andrew Tate mania.
Oh my god. Okay, yeah. Honestly, we should talk about it while it's still hot.
What
Because
left do you have to? What do you have to say about it? That's left.
like that hasn't been said already.
It's just crazy. I'm just trying to rack. Like, I've been so engulfed in it. I'm already tired of it. Like, for the past 2 days, I haven't thought about Andrew Tate, and I was happy.
Yeah, I've taken a bit of a Tatecation for the
Yeah.
past like 5 or so days, and honestly, it
Yeah.
was nice.
I'm
But
kinda over it.
I did do the deep dive when he was originally canceled. I don't know. We could. I guess there's a couple of angles here. There's what makes Andrew Tate worse than, you know, certain music artists or television shows or whatever that
Oh yeah, we were
have
saying
lyrics
how
or themes
if
that
Andrew Tate was a rapper, this wouldn't be an issue.
he would be fine, right?
Yeah.
Or you know, maybe not fine, but it's not like Spotify would drop his music or anything like that.
Yeah.
And yet here he is getting canceled off of everything like he's Alex Jones, which shouldn't have even happened in the first place.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Is this the Alex Jones moment too? The Trump moment too? Where now we can just kick people off of social media just for like whatever reason?
That's the thing. I feel like it would have been an Alex Jones moment if Alex Jones hadn't happened, and if Trump hadn't happened, right?
But now it feels like kind of but isn't that the trick? Like now it's almost normalized, and when it
Yes.
happens, it's not even news anymore. We get bored of it.
Yes. Literally.
Like when is Tate Social coming out?
Oh my god. Speaking of Tate Social,
Dude, the YouTube.
Truth Social, they took it off of the Play Store, Google
Oh
Play.
yeah, no, that's true.
Yeah, so yeah, that's the thing. I don't even like. Once again, like, whether you endorse or disavow what he says, I don't think it. He hasn't said, to my knowledge, anything nearly that warrants this. And in my opinion, as a free speech absolutist, nothing warrants this. You know what I mean? Like, short of being a literal terrorist organization, which they still allow on fucking Twitter. You
Yeah,
know what I mean?
yeah. The moderation is just so unbelievably
So
inconsistent.
it's like, I'm
Follow
sorry,
us
man.
on Twitter, by the way, at Pennant Inc. PNNANTINK.
Yeah, give us a follow. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, I don't even want to give it any energy because I feel like if we just acknowledge that this is a thing, it makes the thing worse. Like, I guess you kind of have to fight against it, but at this point it's like, who gives a fuck? You know what I mean?
Well,
Like,
okay, my next question then is, are we at the point where becoming getting canceled is like mandatory?
oh yeah, it's a badge of honor at this point.
But
It's like, why are we fighting
he's
to
blown
preserve-
up more than ever now.
Yeah.
Like it's the Streisand effect, right?
yeah.
They tried to bury him, and now all of a sudden he's hot because all these people are like, wow, look at this guy that they tried to cancel in the way that they canceled Alex Jones. And look, a lot of the stuff he says is not actually that bad, and blah, blah,
He had
blah.
over 100,000 live viewers on Rumble.
Which for
live
Rumble is
stream,
really
yeah.
good. Rumble and Odyssey, you barely get anything.
That's what I'm saying, yeah.
They're backup services, you know.
Getting
People still use
100,000
YouTube
viewers,
primarily,
period,
whether or
yeah.
not they should.
So, that's the thing. Definitely considered a badge of honor. And, like, my perspective was, why are we fighting to preserve these soulless corporate husks? Or not even, why are we fighting for them? Like, the whole Elon buying Twitter thing, like, I just viewed it as a waste of time. Like, it would be nice, I guess, to have one not completely cucked social media platform, but the fact I wasn't surprised that it kind of fell apart kind of the way it did, because it's like, why would you even want Twitter? You know what I mean?
Well, I think he wants it because he sees it, if not as a necessary evil, but as something out there that exists that is probably better in his hands than somebody else's because of its effect on the Overton window and how it polarizes and charges
they'll just move to
political
something
conversations.
else.
No, they will, but you're right. But honestly, one of the things that surprised me during like the whole internet era for the past 20 years
Yeah,
is I'm actually shocked that these companies like Facebook and stuff have had staying power.
that's
Because
true, yeah.
early on, online, it was much more of like a fad culture where
MySpace,
sites would be big for like
LimeWire.
Friendster.
Yeah.
They'd be big for like 6 months to a year, and then they'd fall off. It'd be the next thing. So I've been waiting for the next Facebook for literally like 18 years. And I guess it's Gab, but like, I don't know, does that count? Probably not. So all these big
Well, I guess the
tech
next Facebook
monoliths.
is Instagram, which owns Facebook. And the next
Like,
Instagram
yeah,
is TikTok.
yeah, exactly.
You know, which is owned by China, so it's like, yeah.
Yeah, so we have all these Chinese aligned corporations that want to sell
Yeah.
us Chinese stuff that are headquartered in America or China.
Yes.
You choose.
So that's why it's in the alt tech thing with Rumble, Gab, I think Getter is a thing, Odyssey, Truth Social.
Even
like,
Telegram.
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see which one of these actually have staying power, because I haven't been in a rush to get on any of these. Like, I think I went on, I can't even remember what it's called anymore.
Parlor.
Parlor, yes. I made a Parlor account.
I had to dig deep back into the
Yeah.
archives to remember that.
I haven't been on it since. Like, it's been well over a year. I think I have like it's not Minds, it's something else. There's some creators that are on, I don't even remember what it is. It might be some like Dave Rubin kind of platform. Because I wanted to follow someone specifically.
Oh, okay.
But then I'd never gone back to that either.
Well, okay,
So-
related but like slightly different question. What's
Yeah.
going on with Tidal? Did that catch on? Do people still use Tidal?
I guess somebody uses it. I think Jay-Z pretty much flipped it.
Oh,
He
okay.
bought it from these Swedes and then flipped it to someone else. And
Hey,
made, like,
good
$1
for
million
him.
off of it or
That's
something.
honestly good for him.
Yeah. It's not, it doesn't, it's never had the staying power as like Apple or Spotify. 'Cause
Okay.
the whole thing with Tidal was exclusivity, but then artists started realizing that exclusivity like fucks them over. Like Kanye, he was part of Tidal in the beginning, and he put the Life of Pablo album on there exclusively, and it became the most pirated album in
Right.
history because you could literally only get it on Jay-Z's platform.
Yeah, and who's gonna fucking sign up for Tidal, right?
I did. At one point, I was dumb. I was a dumb young kid. At one point I had Spotify because I got it for free from Fido.
Oh, nice.
I had Apple Music because I signed up to listen to Drake's album because he was exclusive with Apple. And then I got Tidal because of Kanye.
Was that Views?
Views was exclusive to Apple, yeah. So that was the early streaming wars.
Yeah, okay.
That was the OG streaming wars. Like Netflix, before Netflix versus Disney Plus, it was Apple, Tidal, Spotify.
I didn't listen to Views until it made it on Spotify.
Yeah. So then, basically, Tidal kind of flopped or kind of fell away, and it's just Spotify, Apple, or I guess Amazon Music's a thing, YouTube Music's a thing, but yeah. Anyways, it's a big digression, but pretty much my point is, could you predict which of these all kind of web apps will have any staying power, if any? Because the issue is that YouTube, regardless how cucked or how overly moderated, propagandized it is, Twitter, there's still only one Twitter, and it appeals to a wider audience than a Gab or
Yeah, no, exactly.
You know what I mean?
Because the only people you'll find using those services are people who specifically they got banned.
They want to watch Alex Jones videos.
They want to see Trump tweets.
Yeah.
But Telegram, I think, is the one exception, because it's got a good interface. It's easy to use. There's a lot of different people into a lot of different things on there.
Yeah.
So I think Telegram will have some staying power.
Will it have staying power as a mainstream kind of thing, or as having an audience, an alt kind of audience that's big enough to sustain it? Because that's the thing about the internet, is that it doesn't matter what the audience is if it's big enough, you can have a sustainable fan base. It's just we've never seen that necessarily on the scale of a large scale social media platform, where literally are we going to have, instead of left-wing and right-wing newspapers, you got left-wing and right-wing radio, left-wing and right-wing cable channels, left-wing and right-wing websites, left-wing and right-wing platforms. Is that the future? I feel like that's the future we're moving towards.
Yeah.
And I don't think I like it.
No, it's not good for political debate and discussion. It's echo chambery. It's bubble-y.
Which is why I haven't been in a rush to go to any of these, really, because it's why? You know what I mean?
Even though, ironically, I'm fairly sympathetic to a lot of the views, probably, of a lot of the people on there, I still feel not dirty, but it's cheap, I don't want to go onto their cheap platforms and talk about owning the libs and drinking little tears. I got other things to do, man.
Yeah, that's the thing. So, yeah, our light is dying here.
It is dying.
Have you said everything about Andrew Tate? I guess we could end with there's the Bobby Kennedy truther, and then there's the SNL died. So we'll save SNL for the end. Quick Bobby Kennedy truther.
Okay, so
I'll try to get a
Bobby Kennedy came up on the last podcast, and I outed myself as someone who doesn't particularly like Bobby Kennedy. Now, of course, he was assassinated, a couple decades before I was born, so I wasn't around for that period, obviously, and I have nothing really that intelligent to say about Bobby Kennedy, but Peter was curious as to what my beef with Bobby Kennedy was.
Yeah.
And I think I'll start by saying that the Kennedy family, for all of their achievements, and they had many great achievements, were corrupt criminals and fraudsters who cheated their way to the top, and they did a great job doing that.
Yeah, they were bootleggers. At least the Kennedy, granddad or great-granddad.
So the whole, Bobby Kennedy flipping the script on the mob thing.
Yeah.
And being soft on communism so that he could crack down on the mob instead, which was, he had a falling out with J. Edgar Hoover, of all people, over that.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not so hot about that stuff.
He's a rat.
I'm sure his civil rights record is good, and I'm sure there are other positive things about the Bobby Kennedy legacy, but
that's almost the
I'm not
equivalent of,
sold on the guy, because I don't have that naive view of him as the man who could have been, but he was tragically gunned down. No, I feel like I know who Bobby Kennedy was. He was kind of like Jimmy Carter Kennedy.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Kind of. I don't know.
In what sense?
Well, in the sense that he didn't really have the JFK personality, or even the Joe Kennedy personality. He was kind of a quiet, and that's fine. I actually like that kind of more boring style in a politician and in a leader. But he didn't have the JFK Camelot Hollywood sex appeal kind of thing.
He was a fixer, pretty much.
Yeah, exactly. He was attorney general. He was doing his thing. He was making and reneging on deals with the mob and blah blah blah. And he was a total pinko union stooge, so there's that too.
But he was the real thug life kind of one. If you think about it, that was my view.
That's
of Bobby.
interesting.
At least in the media that he's been portrayed in, is sort of anything that John needed,
Yeah.
he would take care of it. You know what I
I
mean?
mean, honestly,
Like,
having your brother be Attorney General is probably pretty awesome.
that's what I'm saying. It's like Rob Ford and Doug's like a city councilor. Like,
Yeah,
you know what I mean? It's like
yeah.
I kind of like obviously I'm like JFK stan, you know what I mean? But like I appreciate Bobby as sort of like it's like he was Fredo, you know what I mean?
It's like a Batman and Robin kind
Yeah.
of arrangement.
Mia
Yeah, okay.
Familia, you know what I
Okay.
mean? Like
I can
that's what
respect
thought.
that. I can respect that.
He's the brother who's the younger brother who's gonna clean up the older brother's messes, you know what I mean? And like kind of because that's family. Literally Cuomo and his brother. That's probably the best. Literally,
Man, that is
Andrew-
like the most Irish
Yes.
Catholic thing.
Yeah, you know what I mean.
So there's this story
They're
I
the
heard.
Cuomos.
I heard this professor tell, and I think it's a Tammany Hall story, but
Yeah.
it might not be. But it's that kind of general style of politics. So you have
Yeah.
this Protestant woman, and she's door knocking for political campaign.
Yeah,
And I think her guy wants to be a school trustee.
yeah,
And she knocks on the door of this Irish Catholic woman, and they have this conversation. She tells her about the candidate or whatever. And then the Irish Catholic woman is like, so does he have a sister or something who works for the school? Like, why does he want to be school trustee?
yeah.
And the waspy woman says, no, he'd never run in a position because of personal influence and stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
That's corrupt, it's nepotistic. And then the Irish Catholic lady says, well, if he won't even get his damn sister a job, then what can I expect from him? So it's just these ideas
Yeah.
of America has these two parallel political cultures, where one of which actively encourages a certain degree of nepotism, patronage. It's a patronage system. And then you have the other half of the country pretending to be, oh no, well, we're moral and upright, and we're just trying to, govern sensibly and reasonably. And, and Canada kind of has that too.
Yeah.
But anyway, so the Kennedys definitely represent that kind of political culture of like, oh, well, if the bastard won't get his own sister a job, then what's he going to do for me? Like that may as well be the Kennedy motto.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. And like, I guess you want to talk about Kennedys to hate on. Like, I guess I didn't mind RFK because like Teddy is just a much.
Oh my
easier-
God! Well, let's face it, Ted Kennedy is the easy target.
Yeah, so. But yeah, I guess I don't know.
Good Lord, there are a lot of.
Yeah,
Holy shit!
it's crazy. I got bit on the arm.
Oh no! Here, I think we're due for another round of this
Yeah.
while we wrap up.
But I see your point about, I see your point about RFK, So you don't think like the whole civil rights hero thing is legit? It's more convenient, I guess.
Well, I'll be honest. I don't know as much about RFK and civil
arguably-
rights as I do
'cause-
about other
Because he
civil
was
rights leaders.
arguably better on civil rights than JFK. But also JFK was like...
But he also lived 6 years longer
well,
than
that's the
JFK.
thing. That's the thing. So, yeah.
Like, would you say Johnson was better on civil rights than JFK?
Well,
Because you could
yeah,
say
but-
technically he was.
Yeah, technically. So, anyways, I want to get out of the bugs.
Yeah,
I'm
okay,
getting
let's
itchy.
get out of the bugs. We don't want to eat them, and we don't want them to eat us.
Just the last little thing. The SNL, the day SNL died,
Oh, yes,
according to
yes,
Rob
yes.
Schneider. This is going to be super quick. I'm sorry our lighting is gone because I got to like point down the phone, but he basically said comedian
Oh,
Rob
turn your
Schneider-
flashlight off just so that it's not in the shot.
Oh, yeah. He basically said, Kate McKinnon singing Hallelujah as Hillary Clinton killed SNL, and it's not going to come back. Look, SNL died a long time ago. I was never a big fan, but it's a meme at this point that SNL is bad. But pretty much she impersonated Hillary Clinton in 2016 for her SNL role, and when the first episode after the 2016 election, she parodied Clinton by playing piano and singing Leonard Cohen's Hallelujah during the show's cold opening. And there was literally no joke. It was just like... you
She
know,
didn't change any of the lyrics.
Yeah.
She literally sang Leonard Cohen's Hallelujah while
Yeah.
she played piano. That is all she did while she wore a Hillary Clinton costume.
And this is the Rob Schneider quote. I hate to crap on my old show. I literally prayed, please have a joke at the end. Don't do this. Please don't go down there. And there was no joke at the end. And I went, it's over. It's not going to come back.
When I first heard that quote, I was like, okay, whatever. Classic Rob Schneider doing his thing, right?
Apparently he's like a mega Trumper.
Because he's like extreme MAGA.
Yeah.
Then you actually forced me to watch the whole clip.
Yeah.
Every agonizing second.
Long. It's 3 minutes long.
And I can only imagine being at home watching this on TV and just going, what?
Yes.
Like, I cannot believe that they did this.
If you didn't buy into the Hillary cult,
even if you did,
yeah.
What's the fucking justification for that? It's ridiculous.
I was like halfway in the Hillary cult. I was like a Bernie bro who was still like, well, I guess Hillary's better than Trump. And I watched that and I was like, what? This makes no sense. It doesn't compute. What are they doing with this, you know? So, it's just what could possess them to think that's a good idea? Comedy, you know?
It has nothing to do with anything.
Yeah.
Like, what does Leonard Cohen have to do with Hillary Clinton?
Yeah.
He's from Montreal.
Yeah.
Okay?
Well, I guess the idea is hallelujah.
If you had a clip of Justin Trudeau doing that would make a little bit more sense because he actually has a riding in Montreal.
True.
It would still be stupid and unnecessary and pointless, but at least there would be some angle.
And there's no joke.
Some connection, something.
Yeah, they could have changed the lyrics. They could have done funny faces. I don't know. Literally, she played it straight. But she's dressed as Hillary, so I guess that's a joke, but it's not a joke. It wasn't. It's like, it's the same issue, because I know the meme is to kind of, for right-wing people to dunk on Hannah Gadsby, like the Nanette thing.
Oh, yeah.
And then for left-wing people to dunk on Dave Chappelle, right? Because of like the trans jokes. But literally, I think Hannah Gadsby and Chappelle are two sides of the same coin of the problem that we have in comedy. And I'm not a comedy expert, but Hannah Gadsby, for those who don't know, like
she's the like intentionally unfunny.
Yeah, it's
like,
kind of her telling anecdotes about her life and telling people to, you know, be woke and stuff or whatever, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
More preaching. Yeah,
well,
definitely
it's
more
more
preaching.
of a one-man show than a comedy act.
Yeah. And it's sort of like a one-man monologue, and similar with Dave Chappelle. At least his recent specials. I haven't seen the past two.
I haven't seen all of them. Yeah,
but
I saw a couple of them.
Even the ones from before the beginning of the trans thing, it wasn't really funny. It was
more self-referential.
Yeah,
like, kind of.
And like, it's cool that people are experimenting in the format like that, but like, when are we gonna just get back to jokes that didn't come with either loaded politics on either side, or just anecdotes and statements that are like giving a speech instead of making a joke?
Yeah.
Like, when did comedians become so unfunny on either side of the political spectrum?
When did comedians spend more time trying to get us to sign up to vote than make us laugh?
Yeah.
Because whenever that moment was where that turned over, that's the problem.
Exactly. Like the heyday of Eddie Murphy and Chris Rock. Like, if you went back in time to like the 90s version of them, Bernie Mac, if you resurrected him, you know what I mean? They'd be like, what is this bullshit? You know what I mean?
Dude, you can even go like Cat Williams for me is like the last comic still standing.
Yeah.
And honestly, I haven't seen any of his super recent stuff. But, you know, he got big around 05 to 2010 kind of thing. That was his peak window.
Yeah.
How many comedians actually make you laugh these days? Like, when you see a new comedy special on Netflix, are you ever like, oh, I'll check this out? Because I just turn off immediately. I just don't want to watch any stand-up anymore.
Pete Davidson is arguably the most famous comic. I guess the most famous SNL cast member, surely, and it's like, I just never understood the appeal. Not just because I'm a biased Kanye fan, but you know what I mean? It's like, the guy has a Hillary Clinton tattoo.
But is Pete Davidson funny?
No.
He's just a weird mutant alien looking guy.
I've seen one funny sketch with him. This is from like 2018 or 2017. They're making fun of like SoundCloud rappers. It's actually kind of funny.
Okay.
I
can see there being some material there.
But other than that, I just think as a person, he's not funny.
I mean, honestly, the Dan Crenshaw joke wasn't that bad. It was kind of funny.
I need to see.
Remember he said Dan Crenshaw looked like a hitman in a porno?
Okay,
the eye patch congressman.
Yeah, no, that's pretty
like,
okay.
it was, you know,
But then he said, even before the Kim and Kanye thing, when Kanye was going mega, he was like, I'm bipolar too, but I actually take my meds or something like that. Like, something, a very low kind of blow kind of thing that wasn't even that funny, So, anyways, what do you think? Do you think we are kind of circling back to, we'll ever get out of this unfunny era? Like SNL is done, because cable television is done in general, but I guess it's the internet. Honestly, no. I think the internet's replacing this, because there's several meme pages I follow on Instagram that are way funnier than anything I've ever seen on SNL. So I think that's just the future of humor. It's just niche internet.
No, it's a big part of humor is spontaneity, and you're just going to have so much more ability to experience that on some site, even some crappy site like Reddit or something.
Literally, I see better political commentary. I see better political satire on the Playboy Cardi subreddit. Literally,
wow,
that's my go-to for political satire.
Wow,
I'm not even exaggerating. I'm not even bullshitting. Way better political satire on a bunch of subreddits.
King Cardi strikes again.
That's what I'm saying, man. It's just ridiculous. Or even like the. Should I expose my meme plug? All I'm gonna say is go follow Grand Wizard Chat Nigga. The best page, the best political satire in the game. It is just insane, man, that this one guy making memes somewhere in his basement is doing the job of these people who are literally paid millions much better.
Oh my god. Well, okay, if you think SNL is bad, let's talk about Colbert. More accurately, let's not talk about Colbert, because it's just depressing.
I forgot Colbert existed for a second.
Colbert is literally worse. He's literally more partisan than an actual Democratic politician.
Colbert is so bad, he makes Trevor Noah actually look kind of big.
He makes Trevor Noah look like Richard Pryor.
Yeah. And he's actually, I feel like, I'm even being serious. People like Trevor Noah and Jimmy Fallon, and this whole post-Trump kind of late night comedy era, I respect Jimmy Fallon a lot more. I'll watch a Jimmy Fallon kind of bit, and they don't talk about politics. They just look at dumb jokes, and they gotta sing in funny voices and shit, play games. Because he got heat over the whole ruffling Trump's hair.
Oh, okay.
And then I think at that point he pivoted super hard to not dealing with politics in general. He'll make some jokes.
Because, okay, the thing about Jimmy Fallon, I'm not a huge fan of Jimmy Fallon, but he's a talented guy. He can sing, he can dance, he can act.
One of the most talented.
He can impersonate.
In the business,
He's probably the most talented guy on late night TV.
But Colbert overtook him in the Trump era. Because
Colbert was the most efficient, fucking DNC to comedy pipeline, just
100%.
direct fucking mainline that shit into your veins.
Yeah, Fallon was king for years until Trump and Colbert happened to jump in when Trump came along, and it was just all over. But I respect Fallon for kind of sticking to what he knows, Yeah. And similar with that other guy, James Corden.
Yeah. Because again, I
want to hate it because everyone on the internet seems to hate. Everyone hates James Corden for some reason, and I'm like, I guess I'm supposed to hate this guy, but it's a good concept for a show.
Carpool karaoke. Yeah. I mean, it's basically just a continuation of that Jerry Seinfeld show, right? Comedians in cars getting coffee.
The last one I watched was Nicki Minaj. It was solid.
That honestly sounds like it would be a fun episode.
Solid, man. Fucking Adele rapping that clip of Adele rapping the Monsterverse.
Oh, really?
Classic, yes. And she knows every word. Classic. Michelle Obama rapping with Missy Elliott.
Wow.
Classic shit. Kanye, for Jesus is King, went on a plane. So he got a private jet. He rented a 747 with his Sunday service choir, and they sang Jesus Walks.
Wow.
With a full choir on a plane.
On a plane.
Corden, and even his regular interviews, it's chill. Politics doesn't have to be in everything.
Yeah.
And the thing I said about Trevor Noah, we're going way over. It's so dark now. I apologize. But the thing I appreciate about Trevor Noah, and we talked about this with our friend Mal, who's from South Africa. So apparently, according to her, they ride for him. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
And I have friends who read his book and stuff. the whole Born a Crime, because
Somebody gave me his book, but I never got around to reading it. Because honestly, every time I picked it up, I was just like, late night TV.
the issue is he's in the wrong. We were saying to our friend Mal that I think he was in the wrong kind of profession. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not saying he's not like a comedian, but I feel like in the political field, he should be a commentator. Like, I'll see clips,
you're right.
I'll see clips of Trevor Noah where he'll say like an interesting point, and it's funny, but it's not funny because it's funny. It's funny because he's actually making a good point. Like, the good point is the hook, not the fact that it's funny. You know what I mean? If he, like, say he
So he actually should put politics first. He should just be honest about it.
Exactly. If he was host of CNN's Reliable Sources, except for Stelter, who happened to be canceled, thank God, recently.
Jesus, man.
I used to watch that show religiously, unironically. One of the darkest timelines of my life. Every Sunday, I'd watch, what's that Sunday show? You know the Sunday talk shows?
Crossfire?
Not Crossfire. There's Question Period on CTV, but the American one was, oh my goodness, it's gonna block
See,
me.
I'm struggling because I
guys.
never really watched that much cable growing up, to be honest.
Sunday talk show America. I think it was on CBS.
I think I know what you're talking about too, and now I can't.
Oh, Fareed Zakaria GPS is another one I'd watch. Fox News Sunday, no, what was it? Rival Suit.
Meet the Press?
Meet the Press, yes. Thank you. That's CBS, yeah. So CBS and Meet the Press. So yeah, I'd watch my Sunday cable news diet was Meet the Press, CNN's Reliable Sources, and then Fareed Zakaria GPS would come on after. Do you remember Fareed Zakaria?
Like, barely.
Yeah, he was actually kind of interesting. He had some interesting things. It was more like global, international news. So, like, it wasn't that bad, at least back then in, like, 2013. It was before the WEF New World Order became mask off, kind of.
Yeah.
So, if you're interested...
Back when they at least pretended, you know.
Yeah. And then there was Meet the Press. And in Canada, they had CTV Question Period.
Right.
So, anyways, diatribe aside, Trevor Noah would be a lot better hosting Meet the Press, honestly.
Yes, I agree.
Like,
I agree completely.
If they got him to host that show, they'd revitalize it. You know what I mean? Like, he would be perfect for that kind of form. Sort of like what Bill Maher is doing, honestly.
Yeah, so
He's
I'm
a better
not
Bill
following
Maher.
that very closely. I'm following it from a distance, but Bill Maher is kind of seemingly towing that line into being a legitimate moderate, you know?
Yeah, it depends. Some things he's just supremely, like, cucked and, like,
Well, he's
irrational,
kind of like Joe Manchin.
Yeah.
He's a Manchin cinema-like figure in the
Yeah.
American media landscape.
Yeah. Definitely. Like, I think Trevor Noah, in terms of the political spectrum, I would assume he leans slightly more left than Bill Maher. But he's the type of left that there's still something going on. You know what I mean? Like, it's logical.
I could see Noah being a Warren guy or a
Yeah.
Buttigieg guy.
Exactly. But he could make a logical argument for his case.
Like,
That's the thing.
elite and technocratic, but with a compassionate bent kind of thing.
And it's not like we want to, like, crap on all left-wing, liberal kind of people.
No, not at
It's
all.
just some people you can have conversations with, and some people you can't. I could not have a conversation with Stephen Colbert, nor would I want to.
Right, but by that same token, could you have a conversation with, you traitorous bitch?
No.
You know? Like, the
not
thing is, I
really.
probably agree with that guy about a lot of stuff, but can I actually find common ground with that guy and, like, change his mind on X or have him
Yeah.
change my mind on Y? No, we know where that guy
Exactly.
stands.
Yeah.
We know where I stand.
Yeah.
What exchange can possibly happen there? I don't know. We agree that taxes are too high. Like, great. You
Yeah,
know?
exactly.
We should scrap the carbon tax. Like, I don't know.
Yeah. So, that's what we're saying. And that's what we want this platform to be. You know, moderation.
Meta angle. I like this.
Yeah, exactly.
Moderation, but not moderation of opinion in the sense
No.
that, oh, you have to go
Of
to the
principle.
Aristotelian golden mean, and how dare you have a fringe or extreme opinion about anything.
Communication.
But exactly, being moderate in how we communicate
Yeah.
and interact.
So, our communication lines are open, you know what I mean? Do we have an email that people could...
Yeah, contact Pennant
Yeah.
at gmail.com.
then
And of course, you
Twitter.
can reach out to us at Pennant Inc. And you can find us at pennant.inc.
Or just leave a comment on this video. You know,
Yeah,
I'd
drop a
love to hear from
comment,
you.
say hi, tell us what we should have done better.
Yeah, maybe with the lighting.
Yeah, the
maybe start
lighting.
recording.
But
earlier
oh,
in the day.
okay, let's get really meta with it here, just
Yeah.
before we wrap it up.
Okay.
I kind of like doing this outdoors thing. Like, obviously,
Outdoors is nice.
we gotta time it right with the
Yeah.
weather. We gotta time it right with the lighting. We gotta get a location where there isn't too much ambient noise. But
Yeah.
I don't know. What do you think?
No, the outdoor thing is nice. Like, not a lot of shows doing this. I guess.
Yeah, that's true. We're
You
doing
could
something
say,
different.
You know.
Yeah.
So I guess anything else, or I guess we'll wrap up and yeah, just follow us. Remember to like and subscribe. I'll give you a nice shot of the horizon.
All right. And seriously, you guys, seriously follow us on Twitter, please.
Yeah.
I'm doing a kind of a poor job getting the follower count up, as you'll be able to see. So any help would be massively appreciated.
You have a good night. Peace out.
On Pedro like I'm Duncan. Better do something, boy, don't do nothing. Better do something, boy, don't do nothing. Better do something, boy, don't do nothing. Better do something, boy, don't